Dear fathers, brothers and sisters who are still in the premises of the church, may I invite you and request you to come into the church. I'll just say one or two words. Do it in memory of me. Most beautiful words, affirming words of Jesus have been very well explained by His grace, by His Lordship, Most Reverend Bishop Rajarao, and we have had a wonderful experience and a very touching experience what it means to be a priest, especially priest in the likeness of Jesus. Now he will be in the second session. We begin now, and as His Lordship has explained to us that in the second session he will speak more about our practical religious life, at the same time our duties as a priest. Thank you, my Lord. Once again we invite you for the second session.
Thank you. Good morning once again, dear fathers and sisters and brothers. No, I think I have already said Deva what I have promised to have done it in the first session. Little speculation, application of leadership. Now in the second session I would talk to you quickly about religious life. So now, see, when I joined the religious life in 1975, so it is 25 plus 20, 45 years ago, we had a different outlook towards religious life. It was called way of perfection. So you should become perfect. And still that time, what was Fuga Mundi was very famous. That means run away from the world, don't be man of the world, don't live in the world, hate the world. So that was the mentality there. We always had prohibitions in religious life. Don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that, do that. So these were the prohibitions we always had. And for everything we needed permission. Okay? So much so, fathers used to make jokes. So one day they were looking through the window, and then someone said, a beautiful girl is passing. Then he said, I'll go and ask permission from a superior. By the time he went and asked permission and came back, the beautiful girl passed by already. So that was so ridiculous, it was. So our life was different. It was Fuga Mundi, go away from the world. Instead, today, what is our religious life? Our religious life is deep immersion into the world. Deep immersion into the world as radical disciples of Jesus. So this is what we are asked to do today. Religious life is deep immersion into the world and world's problems. Every aspect of the problem. We have got poverty is one of the problems we have. We have intolerance religious intolerance is the problem today. Environment is the problem. Like that, we have so many problems. Education is the problem. Especially dignity of women is the problem. And then living together, all religions is a problem. So many problems are there into this, and also religious fundamentalism is the problem today. In all this, we are asked to immerse into the world with all its problems and live as radical disciples of Jesus into this world of ours. It is not a way of self-realization through isolation, but it is also a call to live in communion with others and to build communities of freedom, fellowship, and justice. And this is kind of religious life today we are envisaging. Not a life to run away, but be part of it, involve in it, change it from within by being inside, not from outside. Not to say words. Today the people will say, the best example that we have very often, in our works, sometimes we see people working on the road, someone repairing the road. There will be only one fellow repairing the road, repairing the things. There will be 4 people guiding him from outside without doing anything. So that is exactly what we were doing earlier. Not involving ourselves, we are only saying, kabul jebta unnam bayt nunchi. Adu cheppakokunda ippudu we are asked to get involved, to be involved. Now, consecrated life is a call to committed God seekers. Who is religious today? Religious person, man or woman, who is that person? What is he doing? What is she doing? They are committed God seekers. They are finding God. They have come into this community to seek God. They are not come to work here. They are not a workforce. They are committed God seekers. So like the disciples, they told, Master, where do you live? Come and see. They went to him, they saw him, they stayed with him, and then they went back. So this is the experience of everybody. So we are the committed God seekers. Suppose if one is not a God seeker, one has come for something else. One of the greatest today's writers on religious life is Joan Chitester. And she says that for the person who cannot find God here, one who does not search here, staying here is a mistake. For the person who does not seek God here, leaving is an imperative. Immediately he should leave or she should leave. For the person who can seek God better in some other place, like, I would like to seek God in the midst of, a noise involved, a community like that. Or I would like to find God in the contemplative community. Or I would like to find God, seek God in some other place. They says, in this sort of present environment, it is living here, the place is a grace for that person. So that's why we need to make proper discernment before we begin our journey as religious. And consecrated life today, as we say, especially the Holy Father Francis, he the one who inspires us so much because he himself is a religious, is a Jesuit. So he inspires us so much. That's why we are called to become the prophets and prophetesses. Not in minced terms, but truly a prophet and a prophetess. And what should they become as prophets and prophetess? They should become the conscience of the society. Our society has lost its conscience. And we are called to become the conscience of the society. In one way or the other, make them to realize that there is some kind of conscience in the society that they have forgotten it. Now the society should get it back. And then how can they get it back? That we are called to show that conscience. We be the conscience. We are called to be that conscience. In Vijayawada we are there, and then there was news about Srikakulam. And, a secular press giving laurels to sisters of Mother Teresa. Everyone was running away from COVID patients. And those sisters, they have taken the job there. 15 days, a small batch of sisters, they're going and helping the people. And the government, the hospital staff gave them laurels. When we saw that, we felt so happy about it. When all are running away from COVID patients, Vijayawada is terrible. When someone got a patient, a COVID patient, daily our costs are 1 lakh. So early in the morning, when you go there, you have to give 1 lakh in cash. in cash. Every day 1 lakh. It is only then the person is given, the medication. Otherwise, no, they are not cared for. In the beginning, it was so expensive. Nobody would go. Nobody would go. Someone died. Nobody would come in for the funeral. Their own parents, the children never came the parents' funeral. So this was, the panic was there. In such situations, when religious sisters could go and do that service, it is really, we became the conscience of the society. So religious, this is our task. Our task is to become the conscience of the society. So then, what are the religious called to do more? We are called to become the critical and creative personalities of the society. So especially when you read the call narrative of Jeremiah, see how I have set you this day over the nations and the kingdoms. And what to do? To pluck down and to pluck up and break down, to destroy and to overthrow, to build and to plant. On the one hand, to be creative, building and planting. On the other hand, critical, that is to say, to destroy and to overthrow, to pluck and to break. So this is the work of every religious congregation. The congregation is born because the fruit of the Spirit. And they're supposed to be doing this work. Religious also to be critical and creative. And in the sense, so then to have every religious person to have an ignited conscience. A conscience that is ignited. It is very active. And that is thinking of the society at large, thinking of the people, thinking of the poor, thinking of God, thinking of the entire creation. So that is at the heart of a religious person. And to use the common sense, which is lost. Sometimes even the common sense is lost. To show to the people what the common sense is there. It's a call to make U-turns in our lives. Today our lifestyle is no more attractive to the youngsters. Today, for example, there is nothing to hide here. Once upon a time, we had so many vocations from Kerala. Now what happened to Kerala? Why there are no vocations in Kerala? Why there are no vocations in Tamil Nadu, not so many vocations as they had before? And why there are no more vocations in the traditional places in Mangalore, Goa, Mumbai? Why? Or Vasai? Why we don't have vocations? The reason is only this. Our lifestyle is no more attractive to these youngsters. And that's why we need to, they were Catholic regions are unable to give any more vocation to religious life. Why? Because our life is no more attractive. That's why the reason is that we have to make, therefore, some U-turns. Our youngsters don't find challenges, they don't find the challenges and relevance unless we radically revise our lifestyle and our ministries. Please do not expect us to be efficient administrators or competent professionals, but we are all to become spiritual guides. So these situations make us to sharpen our thinking and learn from the Gospels to the two icons. And the two icons, overused icons today, are Samaritan woman as well as the Good Samaritan. The Samaritan woman went to meet Jesus. She went there with a jug to get water. And then she met Jesus. And then when she found that he, the person who is able to tell her about all she had done, she goes out to call people and then ask them to bring them to Jesus. So also here in the Good Samaritan, who met a fellow human being who was brutally wounded and robbed, moved compassion, and became a neighbor and took care of him with the great generosity. So today's religious life is a call to move beyond and become a readable witness. You are the person, a readable witness. Today, here and now, I am looking at you and reading. There is something special in this father who is religious. There is something special in this sister who is religious. There is something special in this brother who is a teaching brother, or a brother who is doing a lot of work for the poorest of the poor. This, a readable witness, something which is touchy about it. There is something that when I talk to this person, I feel so much at home. People should be able to feel that, a readable witness. Are you all willing, so dear brothers and sisters, to be the readable witnesses? I would not like to say something about the vows of poverty because lack of time. I shall only say a few words about the mission, then I come to a conclusion today. So, the first thing is today's mission. Every vocation is connected to a mission. We see the call narratives. All the people who are called, they were sent on a mission. Example, Abraham was called to be a blessing to the people. Moses was called to be a liberator. David is called to be a king. Isaiah was called to be a prophet. Jeremiah was called to be a prophet. Amos was called to be a prophet. The first disciples of Jesus were called to be fishers of men. Then the choice of the 12, they were all called to be followers of Jesus. But each one was given a mission. So our mission is there. So also in every congregation today, our mission is well defined. Our vision, our mission. And so we have got a time frame in what we are supposed to be doing. Each province, after general chapter, the congregation, it comes to the provincial level and communitarian level, and we start doing things we are supposed to be, agreed upon in that moment. So now, mission has got that kind of structure in the Catholic Church. So today's mission requires 3 elements. 3 elements are, first element I call it fusion. The second one is vision. Third one is passion. Fusion is every vocation is connected to a mission without which God does not call us. And the mission is to be with the people. And our solidarity with the people means that we enter fully into their way of feeling and thinking. And so that's why Pope Francis reminds us that we should have the smell of the sheep. Not only he used this expression, especially when he was speaking to the diocesan priests of Rome, and he told them that they should have the smell of the sheep. And on a Chrism Mass day, that's what he said. We should have the smell of the sheep. But Jesus himself had the smell of the sheep already at the incarnation. When he was born in the manger, among those sheep and all those animals there. So he must have had the smell of the sheep already. He had the smell of that manger. So he had the smell. He was born in the manger on the same day when he came into the world at the incarnation. So the people who came to visit him were the shepherds. So they had the smell of the sheep when they came. And if we are in solidarity with the suffering and immerse ourselves into their lives, then we will be challenged. So the more we see so many religious, full of broad smiles, all, and you see them so happy when they are immersed with the people in their lives, helping them, feeling with them, doing this work. So this is our mission. Our mission needs this fusion. That means to be involved with the people, their life, and also knowing their needs, knowing their difficulties, knowing their struggles, knowing their aspirations, children, women, young boys and girls, youth, and all this elderly, what are their aspirations? So when we have this fusion with the people, it's only then mission happens. We need to go. We cannot sit comfortably in our all cannot be in the college and do something. No, but we have to go to the people. Even if you're in the college, you need to go to the people. Even if you're in the very reputed schools, you need to go to the people. We need to have the smell of the sheep because to them we are sent. But rather you go to the lost sheep of Israel. That's how Jesus told his disciples. So also we need to go to the lost sheep, the sheep that they're straying, that gone away. So that is our involvement with the people. So and we need to have the smell of the sheep. Secondly, vision. As a result, once you are disturbed, saying that this is not what I would want, I want something else. So when Mother Teresa, when she was traveling in that famous narration that people tell us, and she was traveling the train for her retreat, then she had that intuition, deeper intuition, maybe a feeling deep within her that God is calling her to serve the poorest of the poor. So when you enter into this disturbance, mental disturbance, when you enter into this reflection, then the global becomes clearer to us. And this is the vision. So only when we enter into this kind of crisis, only then we have the clear vision. Maybe not this, that I want it. Not any longer this, because this is old. This is no more relevant. I need to have something like that. So even we say that, we're religious. We have got our own priorities. We say that, no, I have been doing this, but I think I shouldn't do it any longer. Never. No, I need to go differently now. Maybe I was tip-top, spick-span, I was going this way. Now it's better for me to go a different way. Simple lifestyle, simple food, simple, meet the people who are so simple. You don't have to be meeting with the elite of the society to have elite talk, elite language. No, we have to go to the people, poorest of the poor. So these are the decisions we need. So we need, when we have the fusion, then you'll have a disturbance, and that disturbance will create vision. Their clarity will come to us. So this should happen to us. As you grow, in the beginning when you are a young person, you may not realize it much, but as you grow consciously, when you become the conscience of the society, with your ignited conscience, when you have thinking of other people at your heart, then you begin to dream new dreams. Then you become a creative person, then your vision will be clear. And then to achieve this goal, what we need to have passion. We must be ready to suffer. The one who has the passion to realize something, that person will undergo so many difficulties. First of all, people will misunderstand you easily when you want to do something genuine. Not all will understand you. No, she doesn't want to do, or he doesn't want to do it. So what we are saying, he's not doing what he wants to do, what he wants, what he likes. So that's why people will complain. But our genuine spirit, our genuine thinking, and our genuine motivation will be known to people later. If only you are an ignited person, you have that this ignited conscience you have. That's why we must pass through the moment of crisis in our life. Only then we will have this vision and passion. So passion is something that you want to, by all means, you want to realize something, you would do it. I remember that when I was a student, I was very fond of playing the big organ in our community. And Saturday, I to tell myself, unless I learned that piece by heart, unless I finished it I used to put the time. No, exactly, that piece should be played on the organ with 1 minute, 2 seconds, or 5 seconds. So I used to put my timing and play that. So, but if you have passion, you'll finish not only in 1 minute, 5 seconds, but as 1 minute, 1 second will finish. Because you have passion. Because it is very fast fingering, it is. Very, very fast. We have to do that. So also here, when you want to do something, that passion enters into your mind, enters into your life, a religious can do great things for God. So we need to have certain burning bush experience. We were talking a while ago when he spoke about a priesthood, when he spoke about our memory, when he spoke about the God experience that Jesus had, the Abba experience that he had that God experience. So we also need to have the same thing. For us, the same burning bush experiences, just like Moses, just like Isaiah, just like Jeremiah. Jeremiah's life is, it is full of ups and downs. In the beginning, he was, I am only child, he said. And afterwards, he complains to him, I thought, you have cheated me. I let myself cheated by you. But you are killing me. This is not correct. You are a deceitful brook. I know that you are a deceitful brook, O God. So he complains to God. So he's all the time, quarreling with God. But finally he surrenders himself to the Lord. So because he had these burning bush experiences, he met God face to face and underwent so many sufferings, but still he stayed for the people. When all were taken away to Babylon, you're the only one stayed in Jerusalem. And there also were telling the people that we shall repent. All those who have gone, they have been taken away, at least you should repent. Among them, he wanted a pure Israelite who would repent for his sins and the sins of his people and then faithful to Yahweh. Oh, the man, so many sufferings he had. At the end, his own people, they could not bear him, so they killed him. They killed him. So that is a very sad story, but Jeremiah remained till the end. Once he had he had a realization that, I was going to the people who weep, they chase me out. I go to the people who are celebrating feasts, they chase me out. So where shall I go? I shall not go anywhere. Then he makes secretly a plan. Oh, I will marry. Then at least my wife will console me. Then God tells him, don't marry, Jeremiah. If you marry, your wife will not conceive. You will be a disgrace. Your marriage will be a disgrace, he says. So Jeremiah says, oh God, you are testing me too much. So he abandons his plan. So this is the story of a prophet who wanted to stay very faithful to God. This is what we also need when we are called to be prophets and prophetesses. This passion to live for the Lord should be also our lot. There is a story of Anthony de Mello. On the street, he says, I saw a naked child, hungry, shivering, and in the cold. And I became so angry and said to God, why do you allow all this, oh God? Why don't you do something about it? And God said, I have done something already. He said, what? What did you do? I made you. I made you. What did you do? This is same thing. You need to respond. I certainly did something. I made you. So how long am I keeping God waiting for me to respond to the divine call? So we have, as religious, we have our comfort zones. And we need to leave our comfort zones. We enter into discomfort zones. Because discomfort zones are those there where we find people with lots of disabilities, lots of problems. And they are the people of God. God is placing us in the midst of these people, and we need to address those people. So 75% of religious congregation in the past really did not bother about these discomfort zones. They are just very, very comfortably staying in the comfort zones. That's why many congregations are dying. In Europe, many congregations are dying. Close the big institutions and then selling those institutions, going away, no numbers, nothing. They're becoming irrelevant, so much. And the reason is somebody writing a caption, probably there is no God. Probably there is no God. This is what those of us who go to Europe and seen, and we have found that probably there is no God. The only reason for this, my friends, is this, that we do not have enough witnesses to this God. We do not have enough witnesses. The witnesses who are really reliable witnesses we don't have. That's why today when we are speaking about in any diocese you go as religious congregations, is not that you bring in a piece of your congregation and establish in the diocese, but with a charisma of your congregation, establish a new brand here. The original intention of your founder, the original intention of your foundress, and you become the brand ambassador of that. Something very specific to you, something very specific with a golden heart, that you are something new, even the old should become new. That is the spirit we would like to have in the diocese from the religious. Not the same old thing that they have done, everything is over. No, something new. What do you have to offer us today? The bishops would ask you, what do you have something to offer us today? For example, I can say Montfort's, what have you got to offer us today? We want to have a new Montfort, not the old Montfort. Not the old Montfort fathers from here and there. Some congregation is coming here, some province, United States province, Canadian province, or Netherlands province, English province, or French province, or Italian province. No, we don't want. We want Indian Montfort fathers who is a real Montfort, who loved the poor, who has God experience, who lives radically the presence of Jesus and Mary in his life. Somebody who loves, who taught people the way to Jesus. Somebody who loved the poor. Somebody who cared for the beggars. Somebody who cared for the women. Somebody who cared for the poorest and the most neediest persons. Somebody who did penance. Somebody who sang the songs of Jesus. Somebody who wrote poems, poetry about Mary, and who presented Mary as the way to Jesus. Somebody who addressed himself only to the poor without neglecting the rich. Somebody like that. Somebody who is, original here. Not somebody, it came through somebody. No, today we need to incarnate here. You as Indian, you need to incarnate your charism and you should become the brand ambassador of that. It's only then your congregation becomes relevant here in the local church. We're able to bear fruit. We're able to bear fruit, and we would like to eat that fresh fruit. So dear sisters and brothers, so we are, this is the thing that me as a bishop, this is how I think of religious. Myself, I'm a religious, but I also think of the religious congregation's function and its place in the diocese is exactly that. You need to present, not represent, you need to present a fresh spirit of your congregation, and you should become the brand ambassador of that charism in the local church. Then you become more relevant, and then our local church will be more rich in spirit. And so this is my wish to all of you. I have few questions to ask, and with that I conclude. The first thing is that, what was the God experience of your founder? What about your God experience that impels you to go on to a mission? Then second question is, do you pray or do you say prayers? No, we often say so many prayers: morning prayer, evening prayer, afternoon prayer, night prayer, prayers, we keep on reciting. But do you pray really? Thirdly, do you notice the original zeal in you, zeal and enthusiasm in you? Fourthly, can you evaluate the way we run our institutions? We have schools, hospitals, and many things. Do we involve the laity in our evaluations? How much the laity are involved? And then lastly, can we do what we are doing today without taking vows? Can you do what we are doing today without taking vows? If you're a nurse, can you be a nurse without taking the vows? If you're a teacher, can you be a teacher without taking the vows? Can you be a good teacher? So then, what more can you do with vows then? Yeah, without vows you can do the same jobs. But with vow, what more? Then what is the speciality of taking your vows? And you should really represent something much more than a teacher, much more than a nurse, much more than a doctor, much more than any technique that you have learned. What more should you give from your life as a priest, as a religious woman, religious brother? What can we give? So is there something that I'm supposed to give, I'm not giving? So these are the questions I would like you to reflect upon. And I pray that may God help us, all of us. May God help us. And I would like to thank you because you are all doing wonderful work, both as priests and as religious, to build our people, to build our dioceses with the Spirit of God. That's what we need. Then we can become more relevant to the people here. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, my Lord, for rejuvenating us and guiding us into the future. May we keep your words in our hearts and minds and reflect on them and try to mold our lives for a better future. Representing His Lordship, Most Reverend Rajarao, representing the priests and the religious of the Diocese of Srikakulam, may I invite our moderator, dear Reverend Father Balapushparaj, to give response. Shall we clap a bit?
Dear Most Reverend Dr. Rajarao Vijayawada, Bishop of Srikakulam, Most Reverend Dr. Joseph Rajarao, Bishop of Vijayawada, Most Reverend Dr. Bishop Innaya Emeritus of Srikakulam, dear loving Reverend Fathers and religious and very reverend sisters of all the convents working in this diocese. I feel privileged to stand before you all to summarize the programs of this year as our beloved Bishop declared this year as the year of the priests of Srikakulam on 15th October 2019. Ever since, this year is being celebrated with different programs and prayers and sessions. At this very outset, let me say a few words about this year. Once, a friend of a sculptor came to see him. Then the sculptor took the friend to his studio, art studio. Whole day, the friend remained with him. The sculptor took the chisel and hammer, chiseling the statue there. After the whole work is done, he asked his friend, "How do you like this?" Then a friend said, "I have not seen anything that you are doing here. Simply you spent away the time doing nothing." Then the sculptor took the friend nearer to the statue and showed, "See, my dear friend, as you thought, I didn't work. But to make alive this statue, the sculpture, I did here the eyes very lively with sizzling. Here you see the muscles of the hands became very lively by sizzling it. You see the hair, how it is now really seen as a hair by sizzling it. So the small works done by me made perfect of the statue." Dear lords, lordships, and fathers, this is what our beloved Bishop Rajarao has been doing in this diocese. The diocese was handed over to him as a formed diocese, a fixed way. But now, the present bishop is sizzling it and beautifying the whole diocese by his very spiritual programs. Many of us feel that in the diocese, no development works are being taken up. But first of all, our bishop thought the main work that the priests have to do is the mission work. For that, we need spiritually formed and spiritually achieving and spiritually living in. That is why he has been programming, arranging all spiritual programs. That is why this day has come to its completion. So on this occasion, I heartfully congratulate Bishop Rajarao Vijaykumar for forming his priests on spiritual level, doing all the good things that has to be done for the development of the diocese. So I congratulate him for all his beautiful works. The second point is that we come to the celebration of this day. It is a lovely day, a beautiful day, possible because of our bishop, and it is beautified by the very presence of our beloved bishop, Reverend Bishop Joseph Rajarao, Bishop of Vijayawada. His very presence made us lively. His presence made us so happy because we know nothing is given unless we have something in us. Without having nothing, without having anything, we cannot give to anyone. By his very depth of spirituality, by the very personal life of his shepherding the diocese and living with Jesus, the outcome has come completely a beautiful way and very, very, very a touching way. Let me share a few words about Bishop Rajarao. When I was in Levity as a parish priest in 1989, the first time these Montfort fathers arrived from Bangalore to see the place where to take up the mission. So first time, Father Anil and his batch came. I took them to Mariyapilli with the help of Annu Pushpanadham. At that time, he was a parish priest of Mundankel. Then second time, Father Rajarao also came with them. I received them. They were with me for a few hours. And now and then, because to go to Mundankel, we have to again go a different way. So, after leaving before leaving the place, Father Rajarao, Joseph Rajarao, at that time he was a rector of Bangalore Seminary. So he was telling me that he is going to Italy to see. Then I asked him, Father, would you mind bring pontifical blessing? So he really remembered it and he brought it for me and sent it from Bangalore to me. And also, seeing the situation in Levity, he sent a set of spoons and forks and sent to me. Why I am saying is, a loving person, a jubilant person, a man who can understand the needs of others, can produce much more fruits. That is what his message have come from his very experience, from his very being. That's why we appreciate your Lordship for your beautiful and heart-touching and very, very practical life and points about our lives in this diocese. As you touched, do this in memory of me, expounded in a beautiful way and theological way, how you have to be ministers of the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ in many levels. As you said, this memory or this Eucharist reminds us that we have to love with unconditional love. The second one is, once the unconditional love of God is experienced, understood, then it automatically flows a love for others. That's the second point you expressed and pressed down. Thirdly, we see the third point is that we always newness of life. It flows the unconditional love of God and unconditional love for God and love for neighbors. Then from these two elements flow the newness of life. It is the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ is the basis for all these things. And also he expounded beautifully the practical points of being a leader, not a manager or a boss, but how to be a good leader. You exposed beautifully how to be a good leader to your people. This is where really very practical and beautiful that really they help us to live a priest of this diocese. And in your second conference and session, you touched what is being a religious on 3 levels: mission, vision, and passion. Today, religious, their mission is not limited to the diocese, but it is expanded to many areas of life, the areas where difficulties and problems arise and has to be faced. This way, really, you touch the hearts of religious to dedicate themselves more intensively to the service of the Lord. This way, really, we appreciate your Lordship, Rajarao, for his wonderful and heart-touching sermon and that he has given to us today. Because of this message, the day is brightened more, and really meaningfully we are going to conclude this day with the help of your blessing, with the help of your prayer, with a very beautiful message that you have given to all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, dear Reverend Father Balapushparaj, the parish priest of Srikakulam, for your kind, meaningful, and emphatic response. My brothers and sisters, now it is time. We are 25 minutes behind schedule, but be patient. And now, in a spirit of thanksgiving for the year of the priests and religious, let us fathers concelebrate now, and it is already time for Mass. So please go for the vesting at the left side of the church.